Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Drux Milan Unboxing. Sometimes in the fight game, we've got fights where there is a clear A side and a B side in terms of who is a favorite, who is expected to win. We've got two such fights coming up this weekend on DAZN. One is happening in the UK, where Kid Galahad will be defending his IBF featherweight title against the veteran Kiko Martinez. And the other one that I'm going to be concentrating on is in Anaheim, California. We've got the resurgent veteran Gabriel King Rosado taking on former WBO junior middleweight champion of the world, Jaime Munguia. It's a fight that takes place at middleweight. Munguia won his world title, I think, back in 2018 in impressive fashion, knocking out Saddam Ali, who was coming off a retirement victory over Miguel Cotto. And he made 5 successful defenses of his belt. Now he's up to middleweight for his last 3 fights. He scored some good wins over the likes of Spike O'Sullivan, Toriano Johnson, and in his last fight, the Polish guy who fought Triple G, Kamil Zeremeta. Now, Gabriel Rosado, we know him also very well. He's fought a who's who between middleweight, super middleweight, and he also started his career lower as a junior middleweight. Fought Gennady Golovkin and gave a good account of himself. He always hangs tough, but he struggles in the really big fights to get over that hill. He's been stopped by David Lemieux, but Martin Murray, he also just didn't get the nod on the road. So he is a tough guy, he can fight, he's learned on the job, but he struggles at a very top level. His last 3 fights have been at super middleweight, and then he took on, in one of those, he took on Daniel Jacobs, who was a clear favorite, and he took Jacobs all the way, and the fight was from an entertainment view, a bit disappointing. Was more of a chess match, but he lost a split decision to Daniel Jacobs. So that is a good defeat if there can be one. And in his last fight, he rejuvenated himself, scored one of his biggest victories. He was facing the undefeated Bektimir Melakuziev, the Bek bully. Somebody everybody was raving about, who's supposed to be the next big thing from Uzbekistan. And he surprised friend and foe. Melakuziev knocked him down in the first. He took a knee. We stayed composed, and he waited for his opening, and he nailed Melakuziev as he came forward in the third round with a perfect right hand. That was all she wrote, and he scored that upset knockout. And now he finds himself in a big fight again, this time against Jaime Munguia. Munguia is 37-0, he's undefeated, 30 knockouts, as opposed to a record of Gabriel Rosado. He's had 13 losses already, and he always hangs tough, but he doesn't get over the hump. So it seems that Munguia must be the clear favorite, as he should. If we look at Munguia, what I like about him and what I think makes him so popular is an all-action fighter in the Mexican tradition. When he's in front of you, he's a very dangerous guy. He's got heavy hands, great hooks and uppercuts that he throws in combination to the body, like we saw in his last fight against Zeremeta. And we also saw the bad side about Jaime Munguia. He takes a couple of shots to land a few. And his defense is not really much. That's not his strong suit. He keeps his hands up. Now and then he shows you a bit of head movement. And then he sort of forgets about it. Thinks, okay, well, I'll take these shots and I'll take the guy out, which he invariably does. He beats his opponents down and he stops them. Now, that's where the outside chance of Gabriel Rosado comes in, because he can crack a little bit. There are 2 things weight-wise that is interesting to me. Munguia has moved up to the middleweight division. He's 6 foot tall, so he's tall, but he doesn't, or tallish, but he doesn't strike me as very broad. TV can be very deceiving. He looks to me a little bit small to weight. Safe to say, Gabriel Rosado looks like a bigger man to me, although there's not much of a difference in height and reach. So I think Rosado, he is coming down from super middleweight. So one has to ask, he's 10 years older than Munguia at the age of 35. Is coming back down in weight, might that hurt him to come down in weight, or will he be stronger at the weight? So that's a question that we have to see answered. And who has to do what here? I think Jaime Munguia he takes a few rounds to get started, just like Rosado. He needs to get off to a faster start, and he mustn't show Rosado too much respect. Mustn't get into a chess match or overthink it too much, but he's got to stay tight, not just barge in like Melakuziev did He's got to be a little bit careful not to do something stupid. Now for Rosado, the key will be he's got to be able to hurt Munguia. If he cannot hurt Munguia, Munguia is simply going to outwork him. I don't think Gabriel Rosado's got the pace to get over on points over the distance against a guy like Munguia. Now, I know Munguia is not going to stand there and fight a chess match like Daniel Jacobs. You know, the Daniel Jacobs fight, maybe we shouldn't reach too much into it, because Daniel Jacobs is a talented guy, great background story, but in the ring, for me at least, he always disappoints a little bit, you know, which is maybe not fair, because he's fighting guys like Triple G and Canelo Alvarez and so on, you know, but I always feel that, you know, he takes a few rounds off, and when he needs to step on the gas, he doesn't. There's no urgency in him to really go for it. And that's what I find frustrating about Daniel Jacobs. And perhaps that's what gave Gabriel Rosado the key to do so well in that fight. And I think Rosado, for his part, a bit like Arturo Gatti right in his career, has also learned to box a little more to sort of extend his career, you know, not put so many miles on the clock. But I think Jaime Munguia is not going to allow Rosado to box away he did against Daniel Jacobs. He'll push Rosado. And I think that's a good thing for us as fans, because we know when you push Rosado into a corner and you make him fight back, he'll fight back very, very hard. But in the end, I think Rosado is 35 of many miles on the clock. I think Munguia is 25. He's much a fresher fighter. He's experienced on that high level as Rosado is, and somebody is yet to beat him. So it's bar Rosado finding a haymaker and landing on Munguia. That's what he's going to have to try and set up with, use his size and land on Munguia, because he will land on Munguia. As I've said, Camille Zerameta put hands on Jaime Munguia, landed several combinations with relative ease. They just didn't budge Munguia. He just kept coming forward until he overwhelmed Zerameta. But Munguia didn't put on the performance that Triple G put on against Zerameta, in my opinion. So I think that Jaime Munguia and Gabriel Rosado will push each other. It will make for a very entertaining fight with tit-for-tat action both ways. There will be times when Rosado, I think, will buzz Munguia, and it might look like we have an upset on the cards, but in the end, I think Munguia's superior work rate, his punches on the inside is going to bust up Gabriel Rosado's face, because we know Rosado cuts, and Maracuzi have sent him down with some body work. So I think in the end, Rosado might give a knockdown. He might knock down Munguia for all we know, but I think he's going to hit the canvas as well, and I think he's going to hang tough, just like Rosado does. But I think in this classical rivalry between Mexico and Puerto Rico, I think it's going to be Mexico who's going to prevail, and I think Jaime Munguia is going to stop Gabriel Rosado sometime in the second half of a fight, round 8 or round 9, somewhere there. There's going to be too much bleeding, there's going to be too much punishment, and I think the miles will tell on Rosado in a fast-paced fight, as I expect. So I'm going for Jaime Munguia to score the stoppage on Saturday night on the Zone. And until we see each other again, please remember to give this channel a like and a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And until next time, remember to keep those hands up.